All right, let's get right into it. The U.S. government has just shut down, and we're here to break down what's happening, why it's happening, and, what it means for all of us.
So, it's official. As of October 1st, the deadline came and went. Lawmakers in Washington, D.C. couldn't agree on funding, and that has triggered a full-blown government shutdown.
And look, this isn't just another blip on the political radar. This is a pretty big deal. It's the first time we've seen a shutdown in almost 7 years, and it's actually the third one to happen under President Trump.
That's the big question, right? So we're going to unpack the whole thing. The political tug-of-war that got us here, the real-world impact on people and the economy, and how this is sending shockwaves through global markets.
Okay, first things first, let's start with the basics of what a shutdown actually is.
So, in simple terms, a government shutdown is what happens when the money runs out. Congress is supposed to pass 12 different spending bills to keep everything running. When they don't, well, all non-essential government services just stop. They literally grind to a halt.
So how in the world did we get here? Well, at its heart, this is all about a massive political divide. This isn't just about balancing the books, it's a deep, fundamental disagreement on policy.
And you can see just how far apart the two sides are. President Trump points the finger at Democrats, tying the shutdown to immigration policy. On the other side, you've got Senator Schumer saying the Republican speaker guaranteed a shutdown by dismissing the House. It's a classic case of both sides digging in and blaming each other.
Okay, so this political fight isn't just some abstract drama. It has very real, very immediate effects on actual people and on the information that our entire economy runs on.
Just look at this number. That's 750,000. That's how many U.S. government workers were furloughed basically overnight. That means they were sent home from their jobs without pay. It's supposed to be temporary, but there's a real fear it could become permanent for some.
And this quote from President Trump really shows you the human stakes here. He's suggested that the administration might actually use the shutdown as an opportunity to do mass layoffs. If that happens, it would be completely unprecedented, turning those temporary furloughs into permanent job losses.
And at the exact same time, it's not just people's jobs that are on hold. The shutdown also creates a data blackout. You see, the folks who put together critical economic reports, like the monthly jobs numbers, GDP figures, inflation data, they're all furloughed too. This means economists, investors, everyone, we're all suddenly flying blind.
So you take this political chaos and you add a total lack of reliable economic data, and what you get are ripples spreading across the entire global financial system. So how are the markets actually handling the news? Well, it's not a simple answer. Different parts of the financial world are reacting in very different ways.
Here's the breakdown. In the currency markets, traders are selling the US dollar, which is making the euro stronger. Stocks or equities are kind of holding steady, for now. But the feeling is that if this thing drags on, we're going to start seeing some serious cracks. But it's the bond market that's really showing the strain, reacting much more quickly to all the political drama.
And all of this brings us to what might be the biggest ripple effect of them all, the enormous problem this creates for the U.S. Federal Reserve.
The Fed's whole job is to manage the economy, and it depends on that official data, the jobs report, inflation numbers, to make huge decisions about interest rates. Without that data, they are, quite literally, flying blind.
And this data vacuum has kicked off a huge debate among the experts. There are basically two camps. One side says that the threat of layoffs and some other bad economic signs will force the Fed to cut interest rates and cut them soon. But the other side says, no way. Without official data, the Fed's hands are tied. They'll have to play it safe, stay put, and wait until they have a clear picture again.
So in the end, it all comes down to this one question. For those 750,000 workers sitting at home, for the nervous markets around the world, and for a Federal Reserve trying to navigate without a map, everything now hinges on just how long this political standoff in Washington will last.